Hi guys, this is Miss Leone here, and I'm going to be doing a demo today on how to create value scales using line. This is part one of this assignment. Today we're going to be creating 5 value scales. So the supplies you're going to need are either a pen or a pencil. We're using the point today, not the side, so therefore I'm going to be using a pen. But remember, if you use a pen, there's no erasing, so if you make a mistake, there's no turning back. Alright, so you'll also need a ruler. So we're going to be starting off by labeling our assignment value scales using line part 1. And part 1, page 1. And then put your name in the corner. Okay, so now let's begin. So I always like to underline whenever I title something. There we go. So we're going to start off by making 5 rectangles that are 5 inches wide using our ruler to measure. So as you can see, I'm not starting at the end. I'm going to start a little bit over, maybe about 1/2 inch. I have my ruler marked with a pencil so I know where my 5 inches are going to be. So we're going to start across, down, and across. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to do the next one. Now I'm not going to close it yet, and you'll see why after. I'll just close them all at the same time. So now to make it so it's right underneath, I'm going to take the ruler and I'm going to slide it down slowly. Okay, so that way we have the same amount of space off the edge to the best of your ability. And I'm going to trace from 5 inches across, down, across. And I'm just going to be doing that 3 more times. So again, measuring, sliding it down so it starts around the same area. Okay, so from the 5, across, down, across. Okay, again, same thing. Across, down, across. And then for the 5th one, last one. Across, down, and across. So remember, if you're using a pen, there's no erasing here. And now I'm going to close them. So now, since I try to line them up as even as I can, makes my life much easier here. So now I'm going to make my vertical line to close them. So to make sure my ruler's straight, I like to kind of put it at the end of the paper. I like to line it up so you can kind of tell if it's even with the paper, then it's totally straight. So I'm not going to be just drawing a line through my paper sloppily. I'm only going to draw a line to close each section. So I'm making the line there. I'm lifting, making the line lifting, making the line lifting, and making the line lifting. All right, and there we go. Now we have 5 empty rectangles. So number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure that you are labeling as I am labeling, because you can use these in the future as a reference. When creating values in your sketchbook assignments and your art projects, you should be making sure you have a nice range of values. So to separate these into 5 sections, I'm going to put my ruler underneath the first box, and I'm going to make a mark at the 1, at the 2, at the 3, and at the 4. Once I do that, it looks like that. You have your little measurements already. And then again, just like I closed the edge of the box, I'm going to put my ruler at the bottom of the page. I'm going to make sure that it's lining up evenly and lining up here. And then I'm going to, only inside of the rectangle, I'm going to lift, make a line, lift, line, lift, line, lift, and line. Okay, so I'm going to do that 3 more times. So that way my value scales have all their sections. So if your ruler is fatter than mine and you were tracing it, your scales will be a little taller than mine, but that's okay. So you might just have more lines when we do the horizontal shading. Okay, and finally, all right, so there we go. Now I have 5 value scales that have 5 1-inch sections. So now we're going to start numbering them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then light, medium, and dark for the values so we know what they're going to be. So just keep doing that for each one. Light, medium, dark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, light, medium, dark, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, light, medium, dark, and finally last one, light, medium, dark. So now we are ready to start labeling these. All right, so the first one we're going to do is called vertical hatching. The second one is horizontal hatching. The third one is diagonal hatching. So we have 3 value scales that are just going to be hatching. Now the last 2 are going to be cross hatching. So the first one is vertical / horizontal cross hatching. And this one is going to be diagonal cross hatching. All right, so now that we're done labeling, we are ready to start adding our values. So here we go. So number 1 doesn't get anything because the lightest value is the shade of the paper. So number 1 in each one of these is going to stay white. So we're going to start with number 2. So in vertical hatching for box 2, you're just going to be making 2 vertical lines. At this point, put the ruler away. You don't need it anymore. I want you guys to practice creating your lines by hand. All you have to do is just make sure that they're spread out evenly. What I don't want to see, I'll just show you an example of what not to do. What I shouldn't see is like 2 lines over here close together with all that empty space. Another thing, when you're making your lines, just make sure that they're continuous. Don't like sketch the line. And don't go too slow, because when you draw really slow, your line tends to get like shaky. So just be confident. If you want to practice making some straight lines, you can just do this like on a piece of paper, a bunch. So you can see here, actually, I'm not using my wrist necessarily. I'm using more my elbow and moving my arm across. All right. So let's continue with box number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and then number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you can see, so box 2 had 2, 3 had 5, number 4 has 10, and then this just has like a whole bunch, so maybe like 20 or so. As close together as you can get them. So this is about 20 something. All right, so you can see here, we get our darkest value when the lines are close together, our lightest value when they're spread out. Next, horizontal hatching. So again, number 1 stays empty. Number 2, we're going to be doing horizontal lines. So I'm just going to tilt my paper a little bit. So this helps also. Make sure you tilt your papers if you need to in order to make your lines straight. So for me, I'm a lefty, and it's hard for me to like draw horizontal lines at this angle, so I like to tilt my paper. All right, so first box gets 2. It's the same process. Second box gets 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, that's okay. Now this is where, if your box is taller, you might need a little more. Okay, and then box 4 is going to get about 10. Starting to get them closer together. So this is about 13 of them. And then for number 5, this is where it's going to get really a whole bunch. So maybe like 20 something. You're going to get them as tight as you can to each other. leaving very little space. That's how you get your dark values when you're hatching and when you're creating value with line. The closer together the lines, the darker the value. The farther apart, the lighter the value. The more you practice, the straighter your lines will be. Oops, my line got crooked there. Just do it to the best of your ability. Oh, got crooked again. So as you start to get tired, you're going to notice you might start making more spaces between your lines, but that's okay. All right, so next, we're going to do diagonal hatching. So you can go this way or this way. It's up to you. But what I don't want to see, so here's a no here. What I don't want to see, if you do that on one direction, I don't want to see the other one go that way. Or if you do one here, it shouldn't go that way. It should be parallel to each other. Okay, so I'm going to choose to go this way. 1, 2 for the first one, 5 or 6 for the second one. Oh, mine had 7. Now this is going to be about 12. Oh, 14, okay. And then for the final one, it's a whole bunch, like 20 something. I'm already at 21. So my pen seems like it started to run out a little. Good thing it came back. All right, so you can see. And where my pen got a little lighter, let me just redo the lines. Now, if you see you have too much space, or if you leave like a big spot in between, you can just go in and add another line. That's fine to fill it in. All right, so that is hatching. Hatching is one direction of lines just repeating itself. All right, so now we're getting to vertical / horizontal cross hatching. So let's begin that. All right, so box 1 is plain. Box 2, we're going to do 2 vertical lines and 2 horizontal lines. So this looks like a hashtag, number sign. So we're pretty much just combining these two into one technique. So that's 2 vertical, 2 horizontal. Here we're going to do 5 vertical, 5 horizontal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's okay. So if your ruler was bigger, you might have more extending down. Just make sure they're evenly spaced. Now you see here how they look like squares. We want to keep that. We don't want them to look like, let's do another no here. So we don't want it to look like, let's say you have these lines here, and then when you cross it, you put like 2 really close, and then you leave a big space, you put 1 random there. We don't want it to look like that, right? We're not making a design. We're just trying to make the actual cross hatching. So now let's get to box 4. This is about 10 or 12. Vertical first. 11, and then I'm looking here. I feel like I can add another line here and there, okay, just to kind of fill in those spaces if you feel like you left a little gap there. So I'm going to turn my paper here because I have a hard time being a lefty going horizontally. Okay, so now you can see, so now it's kind of getting a texture look. It almost looks like a burlap material, like potato sack or like linen. So again, with line, we can create textures in art as well. So you can use this for shading and making textures. Now finally, for the last one, a whole bunch. Maybe like 20 something in each direction. All right, so that's about 22. All right, and I'm going to tilt my paper again just to do my horizontal. I'm at 15. All right, so that was about 22. So there we go. So now we can see how the cross hatching, the closer, the tighter together, less white of the paper is showing makes a darker value. The more it gets spaced out, the value gets lighter, even lighter, and then totally white. So this would be like the highlight of your drawing. All right, and finally, diagonal cross hatching. We're going to be doing both ways. So we're going to start with 2 diagonals in this direction and 2 diagonals in that direction. Okay, and then for number 3, we're just going to continue. This is going to be 5 or 6 or 7. I got 7. All right, the same thing here. 1, 2, 3. All right, I actually had 8 right there. Okay. And now this should be about 12. Oh, 16, all right. And then the other way. Okay, so you can see here in certain little spots when I went out of the line, I can't erase that. So if you're using a pen, like I said, there's no turning back. Even erasable pens tend to not erase that well. All right, now finally, our final box, a whole bunch, 20 something in each way. Oh, that was actually 31. Wow, okay. And then just finish it off by adding your lines. And remember, if you leave any spaces, you can always go back in and add more hatching, cross hatching. And as you get tired, you're going to notice that your spacing might get a little wider. So you can see here, I'm going to add a few more. I can see some spots that I could use a little more in this direction. And that's okay, you can always go back, no biggie. All right, so this is how you make value scales using line. This is part 1, page 1. So I hope you enjoyed this demo. The next demo we will be making value scales using other types of line. So have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.